Okay, so the saga continues of another paper battery with that electrolyte on it. In this particular video you will see the first battery that you'll see, and the first curves and all the rest of it is milled carbon fibre only on the anode and the cathode. No other functional grouping that I've added, apart from I did activate it, but the amount that's actually on the anode and the cathode, I, to be honest, wouldn't even want to bother to try and weigh it, because I just know you couldn't. The amount is so pitiful, you couldn't weigh it, I don't think. But it was activated and I just wanted to try it on its own merits. There's no other activated carbons on there, nothing whatsoever, apart from this milled carbon fibre that I activated with phosphoric acid. So it was just a test run, and I've got to say it didn't do too bad for the amount of carbon that was on there. I don't think I could weigh the amount actually. Even on my other scales there, that weighs, you know, 0.001 of a gram. I don't think it would touch it, you know. So that's the first one. The second battery that you'll see, and you'll know when it's changed because I'll say so, it wasn't my carbon blend at all. It was Tony's blend, and he suggested that I try his mix. So obviously I stuck to his menu, if you like, religiously, and I made it in the microwave, and what you see is, or what you will see, the results that you'll see are the results of his carbons, or his idea for a blend on my battery with my electrolyte, this new zinc iodine electrolyte system. So I won't say any more because it would just, you know, spoil the video, won't it? So enjoy. It's pretty good. Some of the best results I've seen anyway, so onwards and upwards. That was first charge, 50 milliamp load, which I haven't changed yet. There it is there, 50 milliamps. 8.5 minutes it lasted for, but I'm more interested in that top bit there before it tailed off, because that says quite a lot to me. So it's on charge again at 3.2 volts. 3.22 is coming off the power supply, so we need that to go up a little bit more, and I'll do another run. Back soon. Right, well, that was the last curve then. I've got this little bit of a glitch because I changed it to 0.4 just to test the theory, and I was quite correct in the theory. I've been running these down to 0.55, but this time I got it set to 0.5. So I'm going to test the theory again. So this one's just been charged up a bit, and I'm going to press start. Now the significance of what's going on right this second is that voltage there. So I'm just going to let it run for a little while, just so you can see that. Now this isn't as good as the last run, because the last run it stayed above 2 volts for about over 3 minutes, but that's just because that's me again, not fully charging this thing. But I just wanted to see what it was going to be like again on the second charge. Like I said, this is all new carbons. But this is that same electrolyte from the last one you saw me do, with the zinc and the iodine. Now I've made another batch of it, and I've included the iodine, and it doesn't appear to be as good as what I had before. Now that's just a trial and error thing at the moment. Is there too much iodine? Not enough? You know, I think there's too much, but we'll see. I just wanted to test this new carbon, that's all. So, you know, that curve is going down. It's a definite battery curve, and we've just this second zipped below 2 volts. So I'll click my voltmeter across to 2 volts. And those thousandths are dropping quicker than I would like. I'll show you that. Okay. So there on the right hand side are thousandths of a volt. That's way quicker than I wanted it to be, but hey ho. And that was the charge voltage. So I'm just going to let that run. We've got a bigger tail off now, as you can see, but I'll come back. Right, there we go. Only 7 minutes this time, purely down to charging. This curve is a bit different, isn't it? And or the 2 curves, I should say. And it's telling me something that I want to know about the carbon. So I'll explain all that at a later date when I've built this thing properly. Right, here we have a totally brand new battery carbon setup. I've been testing this for quite some time, and I actually added, for this particular one, to the carbon that I'd already got, I added some of someone else's carbon mix that they've been telling me about. Now, irrespective of the voltages and the times and, you know, the current that we're drawing, which is 100 milliamps, it's that curve. or the wavy line. It looks like the surface of the sea. I don't quite know what's going on, but this is the first charge and test run with this additional carbon, so yeah, quite strange, but there you go. I'm just going to let it run through, and we'll see where it ends up. I'll come back in a bit. Okay, I've come back in at round about a volt. It's settling down now to what it was. Obviously we've got a bit of a clearer line. But yeah, I can't wait for this to finish and charge this thing back up. Now, as I say, I'm trialling. Well, it's as an addition to the carbon that I already had on the battery. I wanted to see how it performed with this new Zinc Iodine Electrolyte system, with Gel Electrolyte obviously, and it seems to be holding its own. So yeah, Tony, you know who I'm talking to. This is your blend, or an addition of yours, extra. I do intend to try it next when I finish with this one on its own, to see how it performs with that electrolyte on its own. So yeah, quite interesting. Quite interesting. Right, I'll try and come back at the end. And there I was standing watching it, and I missed the end. It's only just this second finished. Yeah, seemed to get a bit of a bounce back as well, so I'm going to put this back on charge. It was almost 20 minutes, that pretty good. I'm intrigued. Right, well, what you see there is a 51-minute run at 50 milliamps. I must say it's back on charge at the moment, so that's, you know, not bounce back that you can see there. Strange old curve, but this time round it is just the carbons that I was talking about prior to this bit. Now the last setup was some of my carbons that I've been sort of working with this stuff added to it. This time round it's just Tony's blend on its own. So and the significant part of this is the carbons that are on the anode are the same carbons that's on the cathode, or the same blend, the same mix. So and the one prior to that was as well, you know, with mine. But there you go, it's on charge. I'm going to give it another run shortly, and I think I might give it a 30 milliamp run and see how we go. So I'm just going to alter that, and the reason for that is that Tony said to me that he got X amount of time, X amount of capacity and energy at 30 milliamps. So that's what I'm going to do now. The only difference with this is his electrolyte and my electrolyte are somewhat different. So hey ho. Oh, and I'm charging at less than 3 volts as well. So that's the other thing, and it's pretty high current draw, but I will say I've balanced out the electrolyte quite a bit on this one, so as in, you know, the two half reactions, so hopefully we might get something good. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, is that electrolyte. You can build any electrolyte you like, you can try anything you like, but you gotta balance it out. So I'm going to let this charge for another few minutes, set it off, and I'll come back. Right, so here we go. Get this camera right. I'll set this thing off. Okay, it's 30 milliamps, but look at that. Just look at that line and that. Blimey. Well, it's quite late. It is 20 to 11, as in PM. So, well, hopefully I'll come back. Catch you in a bit. Okay, here we are. Almost 1.5 volts. 36 minutes. Bit of a strange old curve there. Still got that strange dip on the left hand side, but figure that one out later, because everything is different about this one. But anyways, looking good. 30 milliamps constant current load, looking pretty good. I'll come back. Now then, we are at 0.9 of a volt, 1 hour 17. Don't quite know where this is going to end up, but what a strange old curve that is. That is telling me that there's a bit of an imbalance in chemistry, so got to look at the chemistry again. Okay, we are at 0.6, 1 hour 41, as you can see. I'm probably not going to stick around for this one, because I'm going to show you something. And that's the time. Now, it's been quite a while since I stayed this late. Try and get off for 11 these days, or 10, but this one's intrigued me a bit, so I stuck around. But the problem is, if we look at the voltmeter there, that 4 there just turned to a 3. That's 1,000th of a volt. Just changed to a 2. It's about 5 seconds, I think, something like that, per increment. So, yeah, and there's the charge voltage this time. So yeah, it's quite slow, this one, as we can see from the time there. But it's 0.59 and we want 0.55. Maybe I'll stick around, we'll see. Okay, all stopped at 1 hour 47. How about that? Catch you in a bit. Right, that is the second run. It has literally stopped about 4 seconds ago. As you can see from the bounce back or recovery, I'm not expecting too much, but again, 1 hour 37 minutes, almost 38 minutes. And this is a new day. Pesky lines again, look, but I'm not going to switch off and back on again on this occasion. We'll have to put up with it. Fresh day, new day, as I said. Haven't touched the battery at all. I'm going to show you what it is in a bit. No fresh electrolyte, anything like that. It's looking fairly dry, but I just thought I'd sort of charge it for 15 minutes, and this is the result, and this is the following day. Crazy line again, or curve. It's telling me that the chemistry is, well, there's something going on in the chemistry, possibly a dual chemistry going on there. I don't know. Gonna have to sit down and work it all out, or possibly just not quite balanced. Either way, this one's looking pretty good. And again, it's Mr. T's mix, old Tony, who I've been talking to. So anyway, there'll be more updates on this one. There'll be more to come, so speak to you soon. Well, here we go. The gel electrolyte test. I will say one thing, it's still 30 milliamps. We've still got that strange line, curve. Looks more like a rough ocean than anything else. I'll work on it and straighten that out a bit, so to speak. But I mean, again, we're at 0.7. It's done 1 hour and 14. And to be fair, do you know what? I hardly even charge this one, in all honesty, for this particular test. So it's doing quite well. And I'm looking at my other meter, because that's instant as opposed to every so often on this one, and the thousandths of a volt again. I'm just going to count the time in between the increment changes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's, well, no, it's still going on. 7 seconds. So it's pretty good, and this is probably going to run on for quite a few more minutes yet. Quite incredible, really, considering I've only just made up this gel, and I didn't charge it for very long, so quite incredible. I'll come back. Okay, so that was that last run, 1 hour 26 minutes. It's back on charge at the moment. We've still got this, I don't know what to call it, a dodgy line. So it's on charge now. I'm giving it a longer charge, and I'm going to up the current to 50 milliamps, constant current load. At the moment, I'm still charging at 2.9 volts, but what I wanted to do is show you the battery itself. It's that paper design again. As you can see, there's 2 paper separators there. This, as you can see, is the gel, that new gel electrolyte, which is what I showed before in an introduction. So that's the stuff. Surface area is about 70 mil this way again, and it starts there and ends there. Now you can see the carbons oozing out, and that's for a particular reason, which is there's no binder at the moment. I was just trialing this particular carbon. I've got some more left, so I'm going to put some in a binder. I'm going to make up another batch as well. So yeah, all looking good. As I say, I mean, you know, it's quite messy around this because the carbons are oozing out. It's on charge at the moment, as you can see. Okay, so you know, there is at that, there's no outgassing or anything. You know, that's why I've got this piece of glass on here now as well, to see if there's any outgassing coming through the carbons, and you do get that, you do see it come through, but on this occasion there is well, nothing. So I'm quite happy about that. Now it's been on charge this time for about half an hour, so as opposed to doing another 30 milliamp run, I'm going to do a 50. So let's change that to 50 milliamps there. And can't find my mouse. Oh, it is. Okay, I've been having problems with this mouse, but it's working now. I'm going to use the keypad one. So what we'll do, someone did say to me, oh, you don't have to clear this curve on, you know, in the tools, as in that clear curve there. Okay, well, yeah, it's quite right. What you can do is just press the start now, which is what I'm going to do. But prior to that, when I did this before, all the software got corrupted. The more times you did that, it just kept corrupting all these figures and numbers at the bottom and stuff. So that's the reason I go to clear it. But it seems to be holding its own at the moment. So we're going to press. Let's turn off the charger, I suppose. Really, that would help. And press start. Now at the moment with these carbons, these particular carbons, we've got a lower start voltage. It's normally sort of 2.2, 2.3, but this likes to start at 2. So not bothered about that, doesn't matter, make any difference to me. At this stage I'm just trialling Tony's carbon blend. And before I kind of mention what this blend is, I think I'd best ask Tony to see if he minds me sort of letting everyone know what it is. I've also tried this particular electrolyte on my own carbons. Well, you've seen a bit of that, so what I plan to do after this, I've done a short circuit test as well, and it was well over 1.5 amps, so you know, it's got some oomph as well, this one. But what I'm going to do is, after this test, I'm going to go 100 milliamps, the usual 150, and quite possibly 200. Just test the lot now, eh? So it's bound to be a long one again, so I'm going to let it run and I'll come back. Now then, quite strangely, that little bit of a dip after this nice line looks to be the first bit of that hump that we get. And I'm looking at the increments on the thousandths of a volt, and they're changing kind of 1 every second on the meter at the moment, so it's speeding up a little bit now. It would be interesting to see in a short while, when that curve decides to take another turn, as it does, and it has done, just and see what happens to the increments on the meter. I'll just show you that. because that far right there, the increments are changing quite quickly, and it's getting quicker now as well. So I'll come back to that, and we'll have another look when this curve changes again. Just thought I'd note that bit. So there it is on the change, and so is that. That's slowed down again now. Quite intriguing actually. We've gone straight back to, well, almost back to where we were. Let's count the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8 seconds, look. So it's definitely altering state. Which is quite intriguing really, but I'll come back. Okay, that's still the same battery obviously. That's the voltage at the moment. I'm just charging at 3.3 volts. Just to put a bit of juice into this after that last test there, which was 1 hour 20. I'm going to turn off the charger. That's set on 10 amps, and this is the short circuit. Wow. Blimey, that went over 3 amps. Wow. 2.6, 2.5, 2.4, 2.3. I mean, it's dropping, but of course there's no charge in it. I've literally had this on charge for about 2 minutes at that voltage since I did that test. So there's the recovery. So I'm guessing that I need to just charge it up for a few minutes, and I'll come back. I'm hoping you saw that. Okay, and in my haste I set this thing up at 100 milliamps again. I've just rebooted the machine anyway, so it threw a wobbly for some reason, but here we go. It's 100 milliamp run again. Hopefully this one proves to be better, because well, better in respect of it doesn't play up like the last one, because that definitely says 100 milliamps now. So I'll let that run, come back. Right, well, that stopped a couple of minutes ago, almost 30, well, 27.5 minutes there. A really strange curve, and I'm guessing, you know, if I did a 150 milliamp run now, I'm just going to put the charger back on, that curve is going to get even stranger. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it a 100 milliamp run, 150 milliamp run. So I'll be back. Okay, I am actually growing impatient, so I'm going to clear that curve. 27 minutes, 100 milliamps. It's not charged, but I just want to see roughly how we're going to do with this. Can it start with the initial startup at 150 milliamps? Yes, it can. So nowhere near charged this time, but you know, I'm growing impatient because I've got videos to produce tonight and get on to YouTube hopefully. So I'll let that one run through and we'll see where we get with it. Well, just as I pressed the button on the camera there, it stopped. So 12.5 minutes at 150 milliamps then. I'm quite liking all of this. I'm off to I'm not going to push this anymore tonight because I need to go, so I'm going to leave it at that and charge it again properly tomorrow and do another 150 milliamp run. So that's me for tonight. See you all later. Right, here's a new batch of that particular carbon with my take on it, the one you saw come out the kiln. I've powdered it up a little bit. It's not as fine as I need it to be, but there's not enough of it there to put in that machine and get it to make a difference. So I've just measured it on a plate test and it was 0.9 of an ohm. So that was that. I've just kind of sieved. It's a bit lumpy, as you can see. It's nowhere near as fine. I should have ground it up for a bit longer in there, but I didn't. I've just weighed out 1 gram and put it in a binder, and there's ½ a gram on each one of those pieces of paper. So let's have a little look at this when it dries, and I should build another one. These are a bit smaller than that one there, but that doesn't matter at the moment. So what I'm going to do now is go back to that data logging software and see what we can do with that, because okay, a completely new battery cell. It's a paper design again. It's got the gel electrolyte again, but there is a significance to this one. I've had a play with the electrolyte, and now this is only the first charge, so I've got to form this thing yet. But if you look at that curve, we're kind of back to normal. A battery curve. Now it's only 17 minutes at the moment, going to be 18 shortly, but the other significance to this is there is next to no carbon on this at all. There's 0.5 of a gram of carbon on the anode and 0.5 on the cathode, so ½ a gram on each. So like I say, it's all new. It's a new development. I've tweaked the electrolyte a little bit, tried to balance it up a little bit more, and that curve there is the upshot of that. So back on charge. Now like I say, there's 1 gram in total carbon wise on this. It's in a binder and it's got a gel electrolyte, and I've had a play with the you know, the values in the electrolyte. So let's see where it goes. That was a 50 milliamp run, obviously. I'll charge it up and I'll try a 30 next and see where we go. I'll be back. Right, what you're actually looking at here is those 2 bits of paper that you saw with ½ a gram a piece of the material, which is my take on Tony's carbon. I just put my take on it, and I'll talk about that later on. But what you're actually looking at is the second charge now. You've just seen the first one. This is the second charge and the second run of those 2 bits of paper that you saw with ½ a gram on each. So it's the same carbon on the anode, the same carbon on the cathode, and as I say, this is the second charge, second run, at 30 milliamps. And straight away we can see that we've got that weird curve back which I thought I'd gotten rid of, but I haven't. So don't quite know what's going on there yet, but you know, it was an hour. That was 1 hour. It's reporting 30 milliamps capacity, 42 milliwatt hours energy from that amount of carbon. So I'm not going to charge it again now tonight. It's getting quite late. I'm going to leave it until tomorrow. But significantly as well, you can see that the bounce back is 1.371 volts. Now I've got to say that also that this stopped about an hour ago. And that recovery there has been going down so slowly, it's just unreal. So what I'm going to do is come back tomorrow and see what we've got left of 1.371 volts, because again I'm quite intrigued with this, because it has been dropping very slowly. So who knows, let's see what tomorrow brings. That's it for now. I'm going home, getting a shower and go to bed. I did forget to add that this is the new Gel Electrolyte again, and there it is. I was a bit overzealous with the gel. Not used to it really. Haven't done a lot of this before, but I put way too much on, as you can see. So those 2 bits of paper that were sat on the bench that you saw, with 0.5 gram apiece, is in there with that gel in between the 2 bits of paper. So there we go. I don't know what you guys make of this. I know what I make of it. That's the surface area on this one. This has got a little bit smaller. That has gone a lot more powerful. Chemistry. What can I say? You've seen it in action. Now, again, I'll just very quickly talk about these peak currents that we get on the short circuit. It's what I'm after. That upscaled with lots and lots of plates and 6 of those cells in the formation of let's say a lead acid battery, where it's formulated with you know, the anode plates and the cathode plates sandwiched in between each other. They start with 6 of one and then interleave with 5 of another. I can see that that would be very powerful, very powerful. I'm over the moon. I'm quite speechless actually, for once, quite speechless. Now if we imagine that rolled up, you know, a nice long strip of it rolled up as a jelly roll as well. I'm going to be working on that soon, because I'm using these carbon plates as well, obviously, on this. These 1 millimeter graphite plates, which I don't want. So, along with some ideas that I've got, and a lot of ideas that Mr. Middleton has got, we should be able to formulate something quite special with this lot. This is by no means finished. There's a long way to go yet, especially with chemistry. It's not where I want to be with the chemistry. The gel, yes. The 2 carbon collectors, no. looking towards a setup that's similar to a lithium ion battery with a copper and an aluminium collector plate. So I need to slightly move away from where I am now with this this chemistry. Definitely need to work it all out, but what a show. What was it, 3.5 amps or something like that from that surface area. And there's not a lot of carbon on there. I've got to admit, there is not a lot of carbon on there, you know, as one second. Sorry, as the active surface area. I thought I could hear it bubbling for a minute, but no, it must be something else. So yeah, over the moon. That got smaller, that got better.